Good morning, everybody. Rise and shine. Ready or not, let's do this. This is a ridiculously early morning webinar to get your day started off right, whether you're ready for it or not. There's a little bit of mindset, a little bit of business sense, something to get your MLM, network marketing, small business, brick and mortar, online or off, up and running like a well-oiled machine. Whether you are a newbie, a seasoned veteran, or somewhere in between, there's something here for you. Welcome, my name is Mina. I created this webinar series to push myself out of my comfort zone and to share my experiences of what I'm currently doing right now to grow my business online with the hopes I can grow along into success alongside with me. How are you doing today? Happy Tuesday. Today is January 20th, 2015. And today, I'm going to call it Transformational Tuesdays. I'm starting to give a name to each of the days of the week. Some Mondays are Motivational Mondays, where I will bring content that is intended to give you some motivation to start your day, your week off correctly. Today is Transformational Tuesdays, where we are going to talk a little bit about transformational leadership. And today's topic has to do, with transformational leadership and what is transformational leader. Transformational leader is always on the lookout to develop the people on his team. A transformational leader looks way beyond himself and is very giving and practices servant leadership. So the article that I found on John Maxwell's blog, let me pull that up here. It's entitled, Traveling to Infinity and Beyond Means Leaving Self-Centeredness Behind. He gives an example of the astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. Okay, they were the first people to set foot on the moon. And that was a crowning achievement for the NASA program. But those two men couldn't do it by themselves. They couldn't just decide, yeah, I'm going to go to the moon and that's that. We're going to go to the moon, we're going to build our own spaceship and we're going to fly to the moon. No, that incredible feat took the work of a whole entire team. So teamwork is very essential, and that is the one essence of transformational leadership. You're going to be working as part of a team. You don't take the credit for yourself. You realize that you have certain strengths and people on your team also have other strengths, and then you pull all those strengths together and you work together to build a product, or build a successful team, or grow your business together online. And know what there's, and you give credit where credit is due. So what John Maxwell says here, he likens leaders to space explorers, and the challenge is to go beyond themselves in order to reach higher levels of influence. Let me just read it to you. To reach higher levels of influence, to go beyond what has been previously accomplished, the primary challenge is not defying gravity, but denying the self, denying yourself, denying your needs to be me. It's all about me and what about me? No, you have to deny that in order to reach higher levels of influence. Meaning here, this is what I wanted to read to you. Journeying to significance means going beyond the limitations of self-interest by the way of servanthood. So there is that famous saying by Zig Ziglar, to get what you want, you have to help others get what they want. And it's been paraphrased here and there. Help others get what they want, get the success that they want, and you will get what you want. And you will get the success that you want. So by turning the focus away from yourself and putting it on others and helping others succeed, you're going to gain more success yourself. And a prime example of this is my friend Bert Bledsoe. Bert Bledsoe is doing really well as an entrepreneur, and now he is helping a group of like-minded people, of marketers, young and budding marketers, do the same thing. And he's just helping them. He's just sharing what he has learned, and so they are also learning his ways and growing. Diane Hochman is another prime example, where I went to Las Vegas last December, and we met and we had a mastermind, and she shared a lot of great tips that I'm putting into place right now to help grow my business online. So that is examples of servant leadership, putting out value out there so people can learn from and they can grow into success alongside with you. So there are several 4 examples or factors of what going beyond yourself means. And the first is seeing beyond yourself. And Albert Einstein says a person starts to live when he can live outside himself. When you step out of your little world, when it's not all about you, and you're starting to think about, okay, you want to see what is the perspective of another person, what are their needs, and sowing the seeds of success into them is going to bring the success also to you. So it's like leaders will sit down with their team and they'll put a concept forward saying, okay, we have a new goal to reach and we need to call people to tell them about our opportunity. How do you feel about calling people? And just getting everybody's perspective on calling people. Some people will be all for it and other people will be totally against it. And a leader will ask each and every person on his team to get their perspective, and then seeing how each perspective is, he will put in the training that required for each person so that they can do what it needs to be done for the benefit of the team. So for people who are not uncomfortable, he'll put them through a training, or he'll train them himself, or she will train them herself to make sure that they're prepared to do what they need to do, and they feel comfortable doing it, even though it's something that is stretching them out of their comfort zone. But he is seeing the needs of others and sowing the seeds of success into them so they can grow into new areas of leadership. Okay? So, but if a person who is selfish and does not feel, a person who fails to see beyond himself or herself is usually selfish, thinking that he is a benefit to the team, that the team cannot live without him or her. That is a narrow-minded focus of oneself. You have to look beyond yourself and realize that you are a component of the team, and that if you are not contributing to the team, or if you leave the team will still move on. They'll find somebody else, they'll find another component that will contribute to the team and not take away from it. So you need to see beyond yourself in order to start to practice transformational leadership. The second thing in transformational leadership of going beyond yourself is to grow beyond yourself. And so what John Maxwell says here is that to grow beyond yourself, growing beyond your present capabilities, means you need to discover your purpose, and you got to clarify your priorities, and you need to get passionate about life. So when you discover your purpose, what is your mission in life, and then you clarify what you need to do to complete that mission, to fulfill that mission, then you're going to start getting passionate about life because you are clear and specific of what you need to do. And it says here to seek others who are experts and they know more about what you want to do. Seek their help, seek their mentorship. And the fastest way to get better is to hang around with better people. That is the fastest way to get better. Seek people who have already gone through the trenches, and they will take you through the trenches, or they tell you how to get through the trenches. Hang around better people so that you can become better, and you strive to become better, growing beyond yourself. The third thing that John Maxwell talks about is giving beyond yourself. And he quotes Martin Luther King Jr. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are we doing for others? How are we helping other people? How can we help other people? How can we continue the servant leadership? And what John Maxwell says here, that our leadership takes off when, instead of looking for people to add to us, to add to our cause, we are investing time in them, in their development. And we have to give to others before we can expect to reap their support. Now, that's really important. How can you expect your team to grow if you're not investing in your team members? You have people who join your business, you have people who join your business and they're really excited about it, but they don't know A, B, and C to get to the X, Y, and Z because it's something completely new for them, especially in this industry of home business, of network marketing. Something completely new for everybody. You've been through the trenches, and now you have a set of skills and a toolbox that you use and you refer to start growing your business. So now that you have that toolbox and you've tried different ways and you know what works, you share that with your team and you invest in them, you invest time in them. It could be through a website you develop that has the team training and that your team members can access when they need help. It can be also a once-a-week webinar where you're meeting with your team like a general powwow and you're answering questions, you're bringing a training, and you're sharing things new that they can use, skills, to continue building themselves and building the business that they have invested in. Because you are investing in them, you're investing in them, and then they can support you because it's a two-way street. Okay, that's giving beyond yourself, and that's another aspect of transformational leadership. And number 4 is, gathering beyond yourself. And I'm going to read this to you because it's really cool. John Maxwell writes, "Leaders don't necessarily gather the people they want. They attract the people most like themselves." And we hear this a lot when we are training, that when you're out there and you're putting forth the value and you're giving really great value, you're going to attract people who are like you. There are leaders who are boisterous and they're charismatic and they're energetic and they're jumping all around the stage when they are on stage and teaching, and they're going to attract those type of people who are energetic and boisterous and loud and extroverted, and that is what they attract. That is the energy they give off, and those are the people they're going to attract. And there are people who are more, they're quieter, they're not as boisterous, but they still make an impact when they're talking on stage, and they're very low key and calm. And those are the types of people they're going to attract to their business. So you're going to attract people most like you to your business. So think about that. To surround yourself with great people, you need to work at becoming a great person. Self-development precedes team formation. So we start this business and we want results right away. We practice a leadership known as transactional leadership, where we get people to join our team and it generates quick results and leadership rankings and etc. But that transactional leadership lasts for a very short period of time because it's not the extreme foundation of your business, because the transactional leadership, once you get through that, you start to transition in a transitional leadership where you start to realize, okay, well, I have these people on my team. I need to start investing in their self-development. And then you start to put measures in place. I mean, you're still practicing a little bit of the transactional, but now you're starting to realize you need to go one step further in order to really put the legs and the foundation to your business. And so you're starting to transition. And once you're in transitional leadership and you start to realize, okay, I really need to pour into my people and invest myself into their development so that they're doing the same thing I'm doing and that they can function on their own without me propping them up. And that is when you start transitioning into transformational leadership, and you start to give more of yourself. But what precedes all of that is self-development. You need to pour into yourself first. Self-development, seeking out mentors, learning the field, always working on your mindset, on your motivation, because motivation is like bathing. You need to do it every single day, and getting yourself to a point where you can start pouring into other people and developing their leadership as well. So in gathering beyond yourself, there are 5 things that a leader has to offer. And the first thing is a vision that compellingly solves a significant problem. Number 2 expresses a sense of urgency. Number 3 is bigger than any one person. That is your vision. Number 4 is connected to a realistic strategy. And number 5 is infused with passion. So you have to offer a vision. Say you have your team here, and what is your vision for your team? What is a vision for your business? It could be a great many things. You could be in this business because you want to give back. You want to give back to charity, or you have a specific project that you want to invest in. Say, I have a friend of mine that he's an entrepreneur. He wants to build hospitals in other countries, in underprivileged countries. So that takes a lot of work and planning and having a specific vision. Specific vision says, hey, I want to build a hospital in, I don't know, in a third world country, like maybe, I don't know, it just came to mind, Uganda or Haiti. I want to build a hospital in Haiti. I want to have the best doctors and surgeons, especially a children's hospital, because the children needs a lot of treatment there. So what is the vision there? That is one extreme vision. And then you have to become very specific. Okay, we need to raise money. So because we need materials to build a hospital, we need to find contractors to locate an ideal place for that hospital. We need to break the foundation, get that hospital built, and then we have to find the doctors and the nurses who are willing to go and work there in that hospital. And we're looking for a certain type of people who are also willing to go beyond themselves, and they want to serve, and they're not out for the quick buck, but more about serving people. It's a whole vision there that you give forth to your team. Does it compellingly solve a significant problem? Yeah, there is a significant problem. And yes. Does it express a sense of urgency? Ever since Haiti has suffered national disasters, from what we know, they have not fully recovered. So that it does express a sense of urgency. It's bigger than any one person. Yeah, one person cannot accomplish that. You need a team to accomplish that vision. Okay, and it's connected to a realistic strategy. Okay, you want to build a hospital? Yes, we required funding and a lot of plans there. Yeah, you have to set a realistic strategy in place. You can't say, I want to build a hospital and it needs to be up by tomorrow by 6 p.m. No, you need a more realistic strategy in terms of timing, how long it's going to take certain things in place. And when you create a realistic strategy, you have deadlines or dates that by this date, I want to be able to have a blueprint in place or the architectural plans. And this date, we know the place where we're going to set it up. And in this date, we're going to have the groundbreaking ceremony. And by this date, the hospital is going to start construction. And by this date, the hospital will be fully erected. And by this date, we're going to start, you get my drift here. You have that realistic strategy. And number 5 is infused with passion. So you want to build this hospital. You want to share your passion with other people. Why you want to build this hospital, why you want to help these people. And you get people, you feel people up with that passion, so they're willing to support you as well. And here's one thing that John Maxwell points out, is that people won't stick with the vision unless you stand by them, unless you support their needs, you empower them with responsibility, and you share the credit for success. Building a hospital, like going to the moon, is not a one-man strategy. It requires the efforts of an entire team, where when you practice transformational leadership and you sow the seeds of greatness into your team members, they're going to come back and support you so that you can fulfill the vision you have in doing that, okay? So here is a question to consider. He says this, John Maxwell. He says, selfishness is a limiting factor in the lives of leaders. Reaching new levels of influence requires self-transcendence, or living beyond yourself. And the question he asks is this: how has learning to go beyond yourself expanded your ability to lead? Now, that's a question for you to think about. You can answer it. If you have an answer, you can leave it in the comments below. But it's something that you need to think about. How has learning to go beyond yourself expanded your ability to lead? Okay. Selfishness is a limiting factor. What are examples of selfishness? Well, there are many examples of selfishness that you can see in leadership today. But essentially, selfishness is where you refuse to go beyond yourself, where you think that it's all about you and you need to earn money and you need to earn it right now. And you probably, well, here's one example. I remember when we started out in our first company and we were out there in social media and getting known and starting to brand ourselves. Someone had reached out to my husband, and this person was not happy with his current upline because he felt that she was not really pouring into them, that all she wanted was just to get people on her team so she can just get more volume, but she was not really investing in their training. And so my husband was very, very neutral. And he said, well, I can't. He didn't want to recruit this person because that'd be in essence, taking that person from another team to put it on his, and that's not ethical either. But it wasn't even the same company, but still, we wanted to be very careful about that. So pretty much he said to him, well, you have to decide where you want to be. Maybe you need to speak to your upline and figure out what needs to be done or what you need to do next. But all in all, it's just an example of what's going on out there, and the importance of learning about transformational leadership so that you can retain the people on your team. Okay, so that is the mindset moment of this part of the webinar. On Transformational Tuesdays, we are going to go more and more into transformational leadership, and actually, I'm going to be sharing with you teachings from Doug Firebaugh. If you check him out on SoundCloud, he has a great SoundCloud channel called The Fire Zone, with amazing training about leadership and transformational leadership. So we're going to delve more into that with each Transformational Tuesday that goes by. So that is the mindset moment of this part of going beyond yourself. Means seeing beyond yourself, growing beyond yourself, giving beyond yourself, and gathering beyond yourself. And that is what John Maxwell teaches about transformational leadership. Now for today's business sense moment. It's all about productivity, working smarter but not harder. And I found this on Time Magazine Online. I'm going to share, it's 17 great tips. I'm not going to share all of them with you. I'll share the link below in the description blocks of this webinar, but I'm going to just talk about maybe 2 or 3 that are important and what I've been doing for working smarter and not harder. And the one is to make a to-don't list. Well, I haven't done that, but I thought that was interesting. Make a to-don't list means to prepare a list that contains all the things you shouldn't waste your time on. Some people call it a procrastination list, where those are things that they do to procrastinate. Or you can call it a procrastination list or a to-don't list. You list all the things that you should not be wasting your time on, like, I don't know, cruising through Facebook or going through Pinterest if it's not for your business. And that is all the useless tasks, the unnecessary meetings, the worthless phone calls, and so on. And place it next to your to-do list and stick to it, okay? You have your to-do list and you have your to-don't list, so that you're comparing the two, and every time you feel yourself gravitating to something on the to-don't list, and you realize it says, don't do this right now, you go back to your to-do list and work on that. Carry a notebook and pen. I love carrying my notebooks. I like carrying a pen. A lot of people rely on their smartphones. I rely on a notebook and pen. It's my notebook and my pen. I also have extra notebooks where, I do a lot of research and study because I do teach. I have this here where I created this cover that just has some positive vibes saying I am productive, resourceful, and creative, and I put my name down there. But notebooks and pens, there is a a good connection by writing things down and remembering things. So I like to carry and I like to write my stuff down. Here's another thing. Hone your elevator speech. So be able to explain who you are, what you do, and why someone should benefit from unique talents in 30 seconds. Then cut your pitch to 15 seconds and practice it every day until you can say it without fail. And the caveat here, it shouldn't sound like an elevator speech. It should sound very natural, very convincing. When you say it with passion, that people can feel your passion of what you are, of what do you do, who you are, what you stand for, and where you are going. Those are the 3 questions you should answer in your elevator speech. And your elevator speech should be 30 seconds to 15 seconds. You could say it like that. So you got to practice that. Let's see. This is a good one. I like this one. Get used to the 3 TYs. Ambiguity, uncertainty, volatility. And the person who wrote this says projects collapse, money evaporates, customers go wiggy, get over it. That's the way it works. So things are going to happen. There's no perfect way of things. There's no perfection in life, okay? You can put everything, you can put all your ducks in place, but things happen. You can have everything all set in place and everything will fall apart. And how you behave towards that will determine how your next steps. So don't react, respond. Don't let circumstances control you. You control the circumstances. So don't go wiggy. Just roll with the punches. Here's another one. Guard your calendar. So make sure your time is focused on 1 or 2 top priorities, okay? And this is a good question. Is this how I want to be spending my time right now? When you're doing something, ask yourself that question. Remember, you are your calendar. Treat your calendar with respect. Don't be paranoid. So stop worrying about stuff. Stop comparing yourself to others. I'm just throwing that in there. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Just do what you have to do day in and day out, and you'll see the momentum go. You'll see it build up. Be quick, but don't hurry. So this comes from John Wooden. Read it again, think about it, it makes sense. Be quick, but don't hurry. Here's this. Respond to calls and emails quickly. Even if your response is, I'll get back to you. So when people call you and they leave you a message, respond back quickly. Also the same with emails, respond back quickly. Okay, people will appreciate that courtesy. And I'll leave you with this last one. Take the Sunday night test. A lot of people suffer from Sunday night dread. That is that creeping ailment that starts around the afternoon of Sunday evening and reaches a crescendo around 11 p.m. When you realize that you have to go to work the following day. A lot of people experience Sunday night dread. So what the author writes here, I'm going to quote him. He says, so this Sunday night, ask yourself, am I suffering from Sunday night dread? If so, you might be doing something wrong. But if you're not getting it, if you're lying there in bed thinking, I sort of like this, I'm not dreading tomorrow, I'm actually looking forward to it, then you're probably on the right path. So if you're suffering Sunday night dread and you're dreading going to work the next day, it's time to start thinking about, do you really want to be in that job or in that position that you are in? And start to realize, what do you really want to do with your life? And it's not something that you can put off, I'll take care of it later. That's not something to procrastinate on. There is a YouTuber that I follow on, there's a woman I follow on YouTube, and she is a graphic designer, and she's an Australian. And so she just moved to London, and she recently did a Q&A, and she was asked, well, what made you decide to do that? And so she said one day she was sitting at work and she was listening to a podcast about, realizing your dreams. And what the podcaster said that struck her said that you'll never be ready. You just can't just say, oh, I'll achieve that when I'm ready. I'll put all of my ducks in place and I'll be ready. And the podcaster essentially said, you'll never be ready. You might as well just do it now. And so she just did it. She just got up and said, I'm moving to London because I want to have a different experience. Because she realized that, while she's in Australia, and Australia is a beautiful, she's from New Zealand. I'm sorry. She's from New Zealand. While it's a beautiful place to live, right now the environment where she is not conducive to her career. And London would be a more conducive place to her career, to reaching her goals. So she pretty much packed up her life and she moved to London, and now she's in London. So if you're experiencing the Sunday night dread, you need to ask yourself, is this something you want to be doing for the rest of your life? And if not, what do you want to be doing for the rest of your life? And how are you going to achieve that? So you need to really sit down and focus on that. So I'm going to leave you with that. I want to thank you for stopping by today on today's webinar hangout, Rise and Shine, Ready or Not, Let's Do This. Have a happy Tuesday. If you enjoyed the content on this webinar, on the first Transformational Tuesday, please leave a comment below. Share it with others. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like for me to speak about on these webinars, also leave that below. I look forward to reading your comments. Have a happy Tuesday, folks. See you tomorrow, Wednesday, same back time, same that channel. This is Mina coming to you from New York City. Have a happy day. See you tomorrow. Bye.